Hi guys, Niva Mir from the Smiling Academy, and actually today also from the Army of Love. And today I wanted to share with you my story. A story I was hiding for a very long time. At the age of 20, I had an experience that changed my life forever. I was a soldier in the Israeli army. The situation in the country was very bad at the time and a war started. We've entered a small refugee camp and been fighting there for over a week. A bunch of 20 years old kids going out in the streets. Bullets were flying everywhere. I was scared. Suddenly I heard a loud scream near to me and I saw my commander falling to the ground near me. There was blood everywhere. I drifted away. Everything became silent around me and it seems as if time just stood still. After a few seconds that I swear felt like a good 5 minutes, I snapped out of it when one of my friends just pulled me out and screamed, "Come on, we have to move." I remember we'd been carried our commando out on the stretches as fast as we could. We'd just been running to take him out, and I remember being so upset, sad and confused. So many thoughts ran through my head. But we had to keep on going, it was war around, so I didn't have much time to think about it all. On the same day, just a few hours later, we entered into a house. We blow a hole in the wall. That's what we've been doing because sometimes they just have bombs waiting for us on the doors. So we just blow a hole in the wall and got into the house. I think it was around midnight when we got inside the house. I got in first. The dad of the family jumped first as he heard the boom. And I was entering first and saw him, and just to make sure he's not armed, I remember aiming my rifle to his head and asked him to lift his hand in the air. The rest of the family woke up and came to the living room. The mother came in holding in her hand, one hand, 5-year-old boy, and in the other hand she held a 2-year-old baby that was crying and looked me directly in the eyes with the most purest look ever. Her look got deep into my soul and I remember feeling this pain in my chest. I could actually see myself through her eyes, I could see this whole crazy situation through her eyes. At that moment, I understood there is no end to this war. You know those moments in life when you feel so powerless? That's exactly how I felt. I remember taking my rifle down. The dad of the family looked at me and said, "Why did you blow the wall instead of just knocking on the door? I would have opened it for you." And he smiled. We both look at each other and start laughing. We just start laughing, from the bottom of our heart. And this laugh between man to man in the middle of a vicious war brought me back to my truth, brought me back to my humanity. That night, I couldn't go to sleep. There was so many things going through my mind. I couldn't help it but to think that something here is so very wrong. How come I am a 20-year-old boy full of only goodness and love, holding a rifle in my hand and ready to press the trigger? I couldn't find or have any good explanation in the whole universe that would take out of my head the scared and sad look in the eyes of this pure 2-year-old baby waking up in the middle of the night and see me holding a rifle to her head. And I couldn't digest the idea, that the smile of my commander, this beautiful, strong man that I admire so much, this father for 2 young children, that was laughing with me only a few hours ago, was his last smile. All of this for what? I thought to myself, That night, I was facing a huge junction in my life. You see, the easiest solution for me was to just be upset and scared and building those huge walls of hate and fear and separation. After all, everything looked so bad, didn't make sense to me. Everything was looking so wrong. But then, a pure moment of humanity inside an enemy home had arisen as if to show me that there is always a choice. And it is my choice. It is a choice between fear or love at any given moment. I understand that this choice will actually determine what my life will look like. If in such a crazy situation I can choose, then I can do it with any situation in my life. You know what? That day, inside all the chaos and the fire, was a day that I found a big gift. The gift of choosing my life. I learned that even in the hardest situation in our life, we could still choose how to react. I learned that we all got painful stories, all of us got them. But instead of letting those stories making our life miserable, we could actually use them as the tool that will set us free. Deep inside me, I was only praying that this beautiful 2-year-old baby will realize it one day too. After passing such an intense experience, you are appreciating life so much. All I wanted to do is to spread this message around the world to as many people as I can, you know? But how do I do it? I had a plan. I will go and make lots of money so I can help as many people as I can to choose their life too. I had this vision to create huge business together with my best friend, and we just went for it. We had a vision that will make our world a better place. I remember the time things were just happening in such a perfect synchronization. And from a small idea in a small room, we had a very big business setup with some very strong people involved. Before I knew it, I was sitting in meetings with some of the biggest organizations in the country. We felt at that stage that our business is already happening, you know? And the business is already a huge success. And it just felt so good inside. Those times I was just riding on the wave of life. I knew I can get anything. I was the creator of my own reality and my own world. I had this special connection with the universe and I trusted it so much. I was kind of like this shining star, you know, in the sky, like a little kid full of pure happiness, shining light all around, and people felt it, you know. I saw my life going exactly where I wanted it to go, in all areas of life. I spoke about my business with so much passion, and some of my friends decided to invest money in my business, you know, to join in. Life was just great at that time. But then, out of nowhere, we lost the deal. We've been working on this deal for 2 years, you know, and the investment money just runs out. I felt like a train just hit me hard. I remember sitting there, and the feeling of disappointment was so strong that it hurt. The disappointment wasn't even about disappointing myself as much as it was about disappointing other people, you know, around me. What I will tell my parents? What about my friends that invested the money, or all the other friends that already knowing that Niv is the most successful businessman in the world, you know? What I will tell them now? And the most important thing, of course, how will I get my army message out to the world now? How I'm gonna do it? I felt like I got a huge slap from the universe right in my face. I felt small and powerless. I trusted the universe so much, and it let me down. That was the point in my life where I changed my story, and not for good this time. Even though for the outside world I kept my Mr. Perfect mask on and pretended, you know, that everything was alright and I got it all together and that it's all happened for a good reason, inside I felt like someone entered my heart and just dimmed the light in there. You know, all my life I say that for me real happiness is when you know at any stage that you can stand up, put your hands up to the side, close your eyes and just drop yourself backward. And you just know someone will be there to catch you. Suddenly, I felt that this someone is not there anymore. Have you ever felt so small and lonely in this huge universe? Because that's exactly how I felt there. I had no choice. I had no money. So I find again a job again and I just made myself small. I could see it in everything I was doing. Even my smile, that was my biggest strength in life, you know, wasn't as full and as real as always. I couldn't stop thinking about this shining star kid with the strong light around him that was so connected and so powerful running through life like that. I wanted to get him back so bad. But as time just went by, I felt I'm disconnecting from him more and more. And also from my dreams. For about 3 years, nothing was getting me too excited, you know? I felt like I'm just passing my life without real meaning, without real excitement from anything. I was in a very low point in my life. I remember I was gaining weight and I had no money left in my account. I remember sitting one night outside on the balcony, you know, looking at my phone, hoping to find something inside this small device that will give me some guidance, some hope. I couldn't find it there, of course, and I remember I put my phone on the table and I looked up to the skies and the tears just started coming out of my eyes. And suddenly, I saw a star falling. And this star was shining. This star was shining very bright. I remember the tears kept on coming too, but I felt this feeling of transcendence floating inside my body, you know? This shining star reminded me of that kid running through life with so much love, with so much trust. And then I realized that while I was in the race to get my army message out to the world, I had completely forgotten about this message, you know? And that for the past few years, I was just choosing everything in my life from the eyes of fear. I kept this story so much in the basement for so long. I didn't even want to talk about it, as I was so ashamed. I didn't give any space for any negative emotions to come. I was just pushing them away, you know? I was scared to allow myself to feel those strong feelings of failure, so I just suppressed them. I was caring so much about what other people will think about me, so I just gave up on my life and chose to play it small. It was easier, you know, just to pretend that nothing is never happened, you know. Could easily pass on my life like that without even living my real truth. But then I remember that this truth is the one thing that will set me free, you know. I remember that my painful story could become my jumping board to a better life. That we have the power to change our story at any given moment. We all have those amazing ideas and those amazing dreams that can change our world, you know? And we are telling ourselves off just because we are scared to fail and because we are so scared that when we fail, what other people will think about us. And so what we're doing, we just close off instead of allowing ourselves to be great, you know? Allowing ourselves to shine. So what if we failed once? So what if we disappoint someone? Is that a good enough reason to give up on this beautiful life we have? Is that a good enough reason to bury in the ground the most magnificent you? So many people choosing to just bury the real them and pretend that everything is good. It is just, you know, for me, just kind of tiptoe through life, just to arrive safely at death. Now, I wasn't ready to do it, you know. I chose a different story. I decided to take responsibility again on my own life, to become the author of my own life story and rewrite it the way I want it to be. I have to say that my life has transformed completely since. I have experienced different levels of trust and connection with the universe and attracted some amazing things into my life, seriously. I was thinking to myself, how can it be that most people in our new generation, most people I'm talking with, not accepting this reality anymore and are very aware already of their power to change it, and yet we are still seeing so much injustice, so much violence, so much wars in the world around us. I realized that my story is happening to so many of us around the world. We are so conditioned to care what other people think about us, and if we fail, so we're choosing to just play it safe, you know, and stay in this square rather than show the real us to the world. I realized how many people are living a story they don't like at all and don't believe in, and so I decided to open the Army of Love with a mission to make as many people as I can, to bring back this shining star, to choose their life, to become the author of their own life story again, and rewrite it the way they want it to be. The Army of Love is a calling for all the leaders, the dreamers, and the believers that not accepting this crazy reality we're living in as normal anymore, and are ready to step up and create a better one. It is a calling for you, that knowing you are destined for something so much bigger than what you are actually seeing right now in your reality. It's our time. It's our time to come together and create the world's largest army. The first army that is driven by love and not by fear. The power of many people spreading love is far greater than any amount of fear whatsoever. We can do or be anything if we realize we have a choice at any given moment. And if we learn, we need to learn the tools, to choose our life, to own our story. If we allow ourselves to just be, if we realize how powerful and how beautiful we already are, and stop caring what others people think about us, it is our time to come together and tell a new story. At some stage of our lives, we all had a beautiful story that was making us so very happy every time we thought about it. What's happened since? What has changed in your story? And when? We all came here to live an amazing life. Don't let those fears, and doubts to win and kill your dreams. Fight for them. Because when you do that, that is when you really start living. Guys, it's our time to come together and let our voices to be heard. For our future and for our kids' future. I'm so excited, guys, to invite you to take part in this beautiful movement that will change our future reality, and I'm committed myself, to arm you guys with the most powerful tools for transformation existing on the planet today. Tools that seriously will allow you to transform your life, and not just your life and the lives of the people around you, the people that you care about. So I invite you, head over to www.thearmyoflove.world for more details, and I look forward to seeing you all there, and I'm really looking forward to take this journey together with you. Much love.